Welcome back, friends, to EU League. It is our penultimate day and our ultimate matchup of today. NAVI versus MNM, about to begin a UK massive matchup with two teams, UK players led by a Swede and a Croat. And some would say, for all the EU4 achievement hunters out there, I'm talking to you, Hap, the Karabatar, which are the Kravat, originate from Croatia, but they also had a division of cavalry that were stationed in Stockholm in around the 1600s or something. There you go, a bit of history for everybody. Welcome back to the desk where we talk about these two teams that have nothing to do with anything that I'm on about. I'm the host, I get to do whatever. So hello. We got, see, this is what you're supposed to do, Jack.
I know, I was very nervous when I was hosting. I'm not going to...
You were wonderful.
You know what? Obviously, we're in a studio, but we've got a lot of lights facing us, and I've never felt them apart from when I stood in your position. And I thought, this light is on me. I'm sweating. I can't host. And I'm glad I don't do it.
The lights!
It doesn't seem as bright from this side, but I think it's that light up there.
Well,
it's very bright.
The light shining on you always does not seem so bright until you are sitting in that person's own spotlight. You don't even know what the size of the shoes that they're in. Anyways, we have a game to talk about if you missed out. NAVI, Jack.
NAVI.
I wanted to see if he's ready for it. He's not.
Contrary to popular belief, I like NAVI. I feel like they lost a significant player in Doki. Big shoes to fill for a small man. And they didn't replace the firepower. That's one thing they didn't do. They've not strayed away from that fact. Instead, they've tried to change their playstyle. They've tried to redefine how they play. Have an identity, which would mean more surround the opposition. Play in 2s and 3s, hunt in packs, so that no 1v1 engagement. Because even if you lose a 1v1, somebody's there to pick up the refrag. Sometimes it's worked, but on the kind of overall, it hasn't, as you'll see from those game performances. And as you will see here, there's only Blair, realistically, who's 100 EPS, but more importantly, look at that KD line. 48 to 53, 51 to 53, 40 to 55, 58 to 60, and 48 to 62. Now, ultimately, when push comes to shove, teams are able to find a way through NAVI than around them.
I'd agree. I think... No, I would. I think, as you say, you know, they've got better at some of the fundamental things, and that's getting them around the KD issue because of the trades, because of the teamwork. But it's still not enough to get them to where they want to be. They need to hit them shots and win those fights as well, and they need to replace those kills that Doki was bringing. You know, we can't avoid that fact.
Well, what about MNM on the other side?
Well, MNM on the other side, why did they have a slow start to EUL, but they're starting to show us something. Look at the blue bars at the end of that graph. The MNM turnaround is becoming a thing. We saw it against BDS, we saw it against Rogue, where they seem to have this little slippery start at the beginning of the game, but then they just turn it on and turn it around and get themselves the win. MNM, for me, you know, we saw them coming into EUL. They did really well through Challenger League. They got themselves qualified to SI. They, you know, they had a mixed bag of performances at SI, but that can be expected for a new team. They haven't ever really shown us, for me, their absolute best here in EUL, and I'm starting to feel like we are seeing it in the last couple of weeks, or we get in there.
And I feel like they're getting there and actually believing they can do it. I think that's the big hurdle that they've had to jump over, is their own mentality, is their own minds. You saw it in the LFO game. I think they won. It was well before Neo's 1v3 clutch. They managed to win a round, and it was almost like you could see them. They started believing, actually, we can win this game. And then the Rogue game, they're believing we can win every game. And that's what makes them so dangerous. Throughout Challenger League, they had this great belief.
What about our map bans then? Which map will we be playing on? Will we get to witness NAVI versus MNM? It'll be Oregon, a classic one there. Scafe is banned out by NAVI just before. I hear the frustration from the other side of the stage. And NAVI will be starting off on attack as MNM has picked up defense. Jack?
Oh, I mean, both teams love this. They play each other all the time.
Pretty good on Oregon.
And Oregon. And MNM love Oregon.
That's BDS.
Yeah, MNM absolutely love Oregon. They did through CL, they did through SI, they have through this stage. NAVI have been happy to play it a lot. I remember Nath, they played against G2, right? Nath in that little right corner. There are no pushovers on Oregon either, so this is set up to be an absolute banger.
Remember, and I know it's an outside shot, and it's not because it's UK massive, it's because I always love the underdog, and I'm always trying to be positive about the team who has the biggest climb, and that's MNM in terms of qualifying for the major. It is still possible for them, even more so after the day we've had with losses for Rogue and for LFO. They could now leapfrog them. If LFO or Rogue lose their last game, there's the potential, if MNM beat outsiders, they go through to the major, which is unbelievable after the start they've had. Don't forget about that here.
Hang on.
They need the win here, though.
They need a regulation win today.
Regulation win today, regulation win against outsiders, and then Rogue or LFO to lose regulation. If that happens, and it's
simple.
The thing is, coming into today, it sounded wild, and people were saying, "Oh, Tim, you're being crazy. It's UK, man." Genuinely, but now it's not looking so wild anymore, is it?
No.
And these are the things that they seem wild, but sometimes they just happen.
Everything seems wild, but Wild actually play in the GSA, not in the EU League.
Good team.
So true.
Aces are on this.
Aces. Corey is on that team, right?
I don't know. Corey just drives around.
No, Corey not on that team.
He just shows off his car.
Corey's on Wild alongside Aces.
I don't know.
They'll probably win GSA.
Corey.
They'll be in charge of League.
They were playing in Hamburg last weekend, so who knows. Anyways, that on aside, Navi versus MNM about to begin. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's toss it to, well, another duo. We got Dez on the other side with whoever's going to go to him. Enjoy.
Do you want to go? I'll go. I'll go.
Come on. I got a big one. I've gone from a lasso over to a fishing rod here, and here he is. Welcome back, mate. In front of the close today.
There's a cable cover just down here
Yes.
that I nearly fell over.
You mean that massive black sleeper that you possibly can't miss?
That would have been... Oh, if I'd have fallen over there. Hello.
That would have been TV. Real quality TV. Let's get into Oregon, where I'm pretty sure there is no quality TV. They've all been smashed up. The place has been abandoned a long time ago. MNM have walked these halls many a time. It feels fresh. A good place to step into, I feel. Navi equally quite confident stepping into it. We've broken down the outcome. If MNM win here in regulation, go on to win next week in regulation against outsiders, and Rogue or LFO drop the bag, MNM somehow snatch a spot at the major. Let's get into these operator bans.
I still can't believe that. I still can't believe that that's...
Are you any more of a believer now than you were at the start of the day? Because you were like massively against us at the start of the day. Are you believing now? Now you've seen Rogue and LFO lose.
It's not that I don't believe you or Ace, but I think it requires Rogue and LFO to both lose.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and MNM to win
either or,
two in regulation. I can't do the maths quickly enough.
Either or of them lose their game next week and MNM win, then I'm pretty sure they can nick it, potentially. In fact, maybe both need to lose, yeah.
Yeah, both need to lose, because, yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Saucy. I'm in. All right, let's get into it.
There's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance? Yep.
Is that not the same case for Navi?
What?
Or does it make it a bit more complicated? It's a bit more complicated.
Navi are a point below.
Below, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They need round diff to catch them up, and they just simply aren't going to catch up there. They're at -8, and LFO are the lowest at +3.
So that's why it's a 0.1% chance.
Yeah, it's not happening. Let's go. Bans are through. We saw the Ying and the Flores coming out. Saw those a couple of times today, actually, as well. And on this map, I know that MNM are very keen on a ban of the Ying on this map as well. Just very good at making executes happen, even though they can play it themselves. We'll see how things step in for the first round and what it is that gets rocked along for us. By the looks of it, it's going to be those dual hard breaches, at least for now, of the Hib and the Maverick. And on the other side, Mute Mozzie. Not a combo that we see all that often these days, really fresh, but it does bring along 2 C4s to the party.
And I think MNM, if I remember rightly...
You don't.
I don't remember rightly. I was going to speculate, is it for a roam strategy? Is it for a playing meeting? We've seen teams adopt it.
I'd love it.
Open the meeting hatch, play a roam strategy. I know Amata, the coach of MNM, liked it in his old Yukin teams when he was on. It was actually Wild. I know we just talked about Wild. And I think that's what we're going to see. We're seeing the Mozzie reinforcing top floor. Neo's going to reinforce the stage, which means we're going to get a roam strategy coming out of MNM. Now, teams generally attack this by coming in from the west side or rushing. So one or the other usually happens. If teams coming from the west side, as we're seeing Navi and all their drones based on this west side, thank you medics for spotting the drones, it's all about time management. You've got to be quick, you've got to clear the whole map. Most importantly, you've got to take quite fast control of meeting. So realistically, the whole win condition for both of these teams here is time. And time is so hard when you're attacking this site, but what is even harder is when Neo takes the noggin straight off Nave. That's an entry kill for Neo. That'll do his confidence the world of good, and that's a 5v4 for MNM.
Slugged in there to start things off, and Nathan's been pretty good throughout the stage, and the entry up in the front line for the side of NAVI, and Neo in the back line. Not really had the best set of games, but we did see, I think it was his last game, where he really set the world on fire. Some fantastic rounds, a big 3K, and one of them an unbelievable clutch on Villa, I recall. He even said back then on Twitter, right now you're starting to see the confidence. You're going to start seeing the real Neo, and maybe a kill like that to kick things off might just be a sign of things to come.
We're seeing these drones coming from the west side again, once again. Thunder's, bottom white stairs looking to go dining. We're seeing Blair makes his ingress into Kids Dorm's site. So a bit of map control for NAVI. MNM doing the right thing. Nello doing the right thing. Dropping off. MNM have been doing this strat since the beginning of time. I know that there's tier 3, tier 4 teams that scrim sometimes against MNM. They don't need drones to pick apart this strat or the Kids Dorm strat. That's how much MNM love this map and don't really change that much on this map. Therefore, NAVI, they've got a minute 40. They're making quite good progress. It's going to be about clearing the player on the tier 1 stairs at this point, as Neo does eventually back down. And now it's about moving those players out of power positions. But you've only got 4 players to do it, and you've only got 85 seconds now to do it.
All in all, it's a beautiful roam by MNM, right? You've taken down one man.
It's exactly what you want.
Yeah, you've taken a man down, you've burnt 90 seconds, you've done everything right that you really needed to do. E-Box very opened up here as well, I think mainly by the side of MNM as well. They want to be able to play through it, so some good flank potentials coming in there. Neo's dug himself down in pillar, and he's just waiting for this push to start coming through. Very light action on the ground up towards the top side because NAVI had no one pushing in from elbow, of which there will now be. Solotov going to be greeting them there, sat in behind a shield. Don't really feel like we see Solotov all that often playing ops like this, normally being one of the more aggressive roam-based players. Loves getting himself on the entry on the attacking side as well, but here, very much a dug-in turtle strat, except for Neo.
Yeah, and that opening up near E-Box actually is just to deny the E-Box drop. Because you've still got blue presence, you're going to try and isolate a fight with Thunder and then kill the players as they drop the hatch. Neo actually moves away. Smart decision. We're just fronting up the attack here if we are MNM. We're going to play for C4s and smoke denial so that the plant can't go down.
Well, here we go. We've seen a number of teams just run straight through the smoke when you're juiced up by the Finker. Maybe not the best idea in the world, so may wait for that one to expire before running across. Secretly in a spot with an 8 and so to get rid of Believe of one of those Malusi Banshees. Now trying to step their way through. Final 10 seconds. This is where it all kicks off here. It's going to be an explosive end into the round. Plant attempt going down. A C4 over the top quite maybe. Here comes the push. One coming in. Neo, though, gets the second in the round, and before you know it, it's all done and dusted. Nello with the C4 and Solotov on the close on his push-up elbow.
If you are a team in any league and you want to know how to roam on laundry supply on Oregon, watch that round. Early kill. Passive on the roam. Didn't get yourselves into any tricky situations whilst roaming. Get yourselves back to site. Even forfeit some of the power positions. Shaiko got forfeited. Pillar position got forfeited. Highway got forfeited. And then collapse when there's 10 seconds left. Maintain the power positions you can. Forfeit the ones you can't. And then collapse. That is textbook play from MNM there. Really impressed with that round.
You say textbook in a way where I would argue most teams don't roam across all 3 floors. When we first saw Oregon kind of come back into the pool, there was a few who suggested that we'd see a SSG-style roam being employed on this map, that you could start up inside of attic, drop down in towards meeting, have it castled off, for example, and get yourself back down into basement quite comfortably. And we don't see, as you say, too many teams doing it. But now that they've employed that, maybe it is starting to become more of the norm, at least I hope so. Because often what you'll see when teams dig inside a basement, it's a very unique site because there is no soft flooring to destroy to look down in towards the site itself, is they tend to all bunch up inside of laundry, and that's when the attackers start their hit. So normally it's quite static, but hopefully, like you say, we do see more of that roam-based play, more aggression out around the map.
I said MNM don't change things on Kids Doms. They've changed what they usually do. So usually they play the rotate and try and hold on to trophy a little bit more. As we're seeing users, maybe they've identified that Thunder goes alone here into small tower. Solotov might try and shoot a drone for him as he gets a C4. As it is, Thunder's going to actually move away. My original point, MNM used to play a rotate in the generator wall there towards the master bedroom and then play very heavily towards trophy. We see Neo is still playing there, but not this time, not with a rotate. Plays a shield. A little bit more passive, maybe a nice kind of understanding that they weren't going to hold on to that gen wall, would rather have it reinforced. Nello's actually going to look to get a little bit fraggy onto this gen. Repel player takes a quick shot, nothing comes of it. Blair was ready for it, as the nade will come in to try and clear out the mute jammer. You can of course do it from above, you can do it from below. You see a lot of teams go below, but Blair chose to do it from above. As Solotov, on the other side of the map, gets an entry kill onto Nath.
Again, that's Nath, 2 rounds in a row, just not even getting to play today. dies with 2 nades in back pocket as well. So in fact, I think he had 1 because he used 1. 1 was in back pocket. There are still 3 left in the back pockets of Thunder and of Blur. Secretly working his way up the armory stairs, looking to get a bit of control out towards that east side. But Solotov is looking for his second victim of the round. Can't quite find him. Both players down to about 70 HP as they exchange a few blows and immediately step back away.
Solotov makes things happen for this team. He really does. He's out and about. He gets himself everywhere. And he gets himself massive kills. The opening kill there, the kill on Secretly, map control held by MNM. On the second test, Navi could not clear out the pit position, as then we find Tyrant goes and kills Thunder, trying to nade from below. Yak finally finds one back on Solotov, but it's all too late. No map control for Navi, just got a breach, but not much to work with. The defenders can just front this attack up.
2 C4s, 3 smoke canisters, 4 were mine magnets still in back pocket.
Is it?
Like, on paper, it's stacked against you, but I'll always say it, Siege at its heart is an FPS game. You can walk in a 1 versus 4 and kill 4 people. Heaven knows it's in Shaiko do it enough times. Great nade coming in from Blur, or you can just do this kind of stuff instead. But now they've got to burn through some more time here. Slowly getting trapped up inside a trophy. You've got to make something happen. Using some downstairs with a wonderful C4 coming out onto Yak, who was just about to step inside a walk-in wardrobe. Just caught by the edge of that C4 and down he goes. Blur in a 1 versus 3. 30 seconds to play. It's feeling a little bit impossible.
Yeah, and once again, 1 versus 3, you've got to identify 1v1 engagements. That's why he's trying to relocate, get himself into pit through the vault rotate. He does, but Neo's got a long angle with the FMG9. Actually, I didn't know if it was wallbang. No, he had it open. Does manage to get the kill in the end. Neo, once again, he's finding kills. And I'll say this, because there's a lot of viewers who won't have seen Neo inside of T3.
No.
And he came in for some criticism. Came in for a lot of criticism. Was quite a low-rated player in the league, probably still is. But these past couple of games, that Villa game against LFO, and he got the 1v3, he started to believe. That last game that he just played against Rogue, and then this game he started off very well. This is the Neo that I know and love from national leagues, where I see him swinging things, and I see him taking those fights and winning those fights. So it's good to see him get somewhat back on his feet. And it's kind of the MNM that we know and love, where 4 of them can go nuclear. I'm kind of discounting Nello there because he is I call him the puppet master of this team.
Nothing wrong with being the grey hairs on the team that hold everything together, the glue, as we often call them.
The controller. I'm having fun with controllers recently. So
call him the glue. You're having fun with shields, mate. What do you mean with controllers?
It was a reference to something else. Doesn't matter. Inside joke, shouldn't have dropped it.
Yeah, right. It's not an inside joke, mate. That is like out in outer space. No one else has a clue what you're on about.
I was stopped by 4 controllers on a train last night who told me I had the wrong ticket. So I'm not happy with controllers right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's irrelevant.
Had to pay your dues, mate. Here in Paris, they got you. They got you.
And I did pay my dues.
Good lad. Good lad. Let's get into it then. Round 3. Meet in the kitchen coming up here as the defense for MNM's third site. They win here. They get to go back through the full rotation, down to supply and laundry, up into kids and dorms, and then likely back in towards meeting and kitchen. Nothing too spicy coming out from NAVI, where a lot of teams would immediately pick over to playing an OSA on this site.
True.
It's simply not going to be a thing. They're playing a much more standard go-to with 3 hard breaches fresh.
And we're actually seeing a West Side player come out. This is not often that you see on Meeting, where teams actually look for control of dining, then play for control of kitchen and a plant on kitchen. Teams very normally try and take tower and then play for the stage. So we're seeing Blair, he's going to do a lot of vertical, a lot of soft breach to allow movement, and then he's going to breach the single dining wall. 2 very high breaches have come out there. Neo's playing above the hatch, and it's all realistically on Nave. And the rest of the team have now, they've got to clear the 2 MNM defenders that are playing above the site, that are playing in kids and dorms and attic and pit. Clear them out, and then you've got vertical above site, and then you can look to plant on that single wall or just behind the island platform. Because Usus is kind of ratting around.
He's trying.
So Neo's probably going to be the first person that dies here. And his job is basically just to take 1 or 2 with him and delay as much time as humanly possible so that MNM can play for a retake.
I say like it's not going to be Solotov doing some work here as well. You see him for a more default spot inside of Armory, but no one present. Long evacuated, long disappeared. Solotov's feeling a little bit brave here. Feels like he can step back up and snap at a few heals. Oh, down goes Neo. Not expecting Yat to come swinging in from the game room. Good team play coming out from NAVI to get their first entry of the game.
Yeah, nice from Navi. They know exactly what they want, and this is what we spoke about on the team play. It was Naif, and it was also Yak peeking together, which means even if Neo gets one, the ground and the map control was going to Navi. That's top floor established now. Nafe's going to start swinging that sledgehammer. Make sure all the flanks are covered, boys, because that's the only way that Nafe dies. He's going to get vertical above all of sight, security, Zulu, which means MNM have got to sit pretty. They've got to try and play for a retake here, because in all likelihood, the plant's going to go down behind the island, and all vertical is in the hands of Navi.
Timing. They've just got a drone down inside of Freezer as Tyrant's gone for a bit of a walkabout there, stretching his legs. Solotov getting aggressive on the window. Things carry on. There you go. Now they've seen him, so it's not the end of the world. They at least know there's a little bit of danger coming here and should be able to adapt, but Clock is not on their side. Yak is inside the kitchen, going in for the plant. MNM have made a move on the upstairs here. It kind of feels they might get themselves caught red-handed. Not going to be able to get away with it, and in comes the swing, looking the wrong way entirely. 3 quick kills coming for Navi, and this should be their round. Potentially a flawless coming through as Yuzus is the only one left alive. Easy clear out for Navi.
Love that attack. Absolutely love that attack. I talked about MNM playing the textbook roam. Navi played a textbook kitchen attack there on the meeting kitchen bomb site. As I said, the first priority was taking the west side. Second priority was taking vertical. Third priority was planting. Fourth priority was holding the flank. They did all of them expertly, and that's why you saw a flawless round come out.
Beautiful stuff. I mean, it's a good way to show that they're definitely not going to get themselves walked over in this first half, but now they've got to take that energy from round 3 and transfer it into supply and laundry and into kids and dorms. The 2 sites that they got pretty convincingly stomped. They only got 3 kills across the first couple of rounds in this game, so now's the time to make a name for yourself, get a couple of rounds on the attacking side and give yourself a good advantage going into the defensive half.
And it's all about the adaptations. I'm going to say this so many times, Des, but I love rounds 4 to 6. They're the best rounds in Siege for me because you know what teams are going to do. You've more or less you've seen this attack and defense before. So it's about what adaptations a team's going to bring. Yuzus, defender repick isn't the thing. Yuzus was always on the mirror. I'm not sure why you're showing it to Chanka there, but he is playing the mirror. And he's going to play the mirror. So MNM setting up very similarly. Yuzus is going to play a pre-placed C4, assuming that the adaptation is going to be what Blair did against G2, which is a Maru up straight into that tier 3 window. Blair's not, he's on the Finker, but that's a nice adaptation by Yuzus. It shows he's watched his VODs, because that's what Blair did against G2.
Or some poor analyst has sat there and watched him and told him, right?
That would be Archer, or Eden, or Murta, or any of the other 17 support staff that MNM have got going on, as Tyrant tries a long arm C4, but Blair is just too far away, and he's typing, yep. I saw him stop and I was like, he's definitely typing there. But we've got a second clear coming out from Navi. West side, they haven't lost a player yet. They're still 5v5. They're a bit faster this time. That's the adaptation. They're going to increase the pace. They're going to force MNM back into the bomb site earlier, and hopefully they do it with at least a 5v5, maybe even a 5v4 advantage to themselves.
Let's see how things shape up then. For now, at least they've got one side of security. Nello just dropping down through Freezer now at that bang-on 2-minute mark as well before he opts to get himself back. Just happy that, all right, I've wasted a bit of time. They sent a few drones in after me. We've chewed through 6 of those so far, or 5, I guess you could look at, given you do have one of those normal drones shown in the top left corner of the screen taken away when you have that Twitch on side, because, of course, she has 2 shock drones. So, technically still with a couple more than what you're seeing on screen, and some of those gadgets now finally being taken away.
Minute 30 to go. Navi have now got control of meeting, so the tier 1 player, the player playing on T1 stairs, is of still an issue. You've got to clear him eventually. I like this from Navi, I like this from Nave. Open up the front, make them think that somebody's going to... Because Navi went very one-dimensional in the previous attack of this. They went for blue and tier 1 stairs only. So to put Nave, because you've now got him, because he's not died early, he can go laundry. Which means a player from MNM has to commit to looking at laundry at all times, which means at least one player can't front this attack up coming from the tier 1 from E-Box side.
There we go. Ooh, Blur almost getting swung on there as well. I think just a slight misconception on Neo's side on exactly how deep into Freezer he was. Keeps his head for now. We are into those final 45 seconds, though. All 10 players still alive, and it looks like it's going to be a big Freezer push coming in here. First nade coming out to get smoked out. They want to try and force their way through. A cheeky nade coming over the top there, hoping to catch a player who was feeling a little bit too peaky on the aggression, but no. In comes Blur marching forward. Solotov, though, he's like, yep, thank you very much, Mr. Shift W. You are a freebie. One coming in. They've got the wall slowly being opened up, but Nello just tucking himself in tight there like he's hiding in a wardrobe, not wanting to give even an arm over to the other side. Secretly, a great angle onto Solotov. Traded back in a 4 versus 4.
I like the attempted adaptation, but there's only 15 seconds left, and you're sitting behind that redundancy of the mirror windows. Yuzus knows that he's going to be pushed. The player's going to have to force themselves in.
C4.
C4 gets boom! both of them, and that's going to be the round for MNM as Thunder is on his lonesome, trying to push the back. Users takes care of him, a big double C4 and kills the player backstabbing. Massive round for MNM. Great win on that particular round. Great play from Users.
Yeah, massive. I mean, it feels painful as the attacker's there because you hear it coming, you see it coming, and as much as you might try and aim at shooting it, you just know that your death is inevitable. Two of them going down, taking all the sting out of that attack, and MNM move up to 3-1. But I will give it to NAVI. That was a lot closer than their last attack.
Yeah.
Better coordinated
I like
as well.
the adaptation.
Yeah.
I like it. I think maybe the adaptation should have been to still go for the pillar and the blue attack, but put one player, maybe two players, going for laundry freezer and collapse all together from 4 angles at the same time. That's generally my preferred approach on that site, but I understand how hard. Wow, I can't speak. I can't understand anything if I can't speak. I understand how hard it is to attack that site with good time. They physically couldn't have rotated the people over there late on to do that. Overall, good adaptation. It's just that site is so hard to attack, in my opinion.
Cheeky little shield coming out inside a trophy, just to try and challenge inside a master. We saw in the last attack from NAVI, all of their focus was around the bedroom and around trophy. That's where they were piling on the pressure. So if you can support Solotov, who's likely going to find himself sitting just inside of pit and looking to challenge on towards Armory, then this is a great spot to be in, to really move all of your defenses over towards this side and be aggressive. Great idea and a great adaptation coming out from MNM.
Yep, and we're seeing MNM, they're going to try and play below as well. At the same time, they're going to try and hold kitchen, security, bottom white, Zulu. The reason for that is because they're trying to hold off a west main attack, assuming that might be the adaptation coming out of NAVI. It secretly manages to jump a drone and, I believe, get that default camera at the same time. That's some nice skill. Knows there's some vertical on the armory side. And so for NAVI, it looks like they're trying a kind of alternate approach to a big window. There's one going top armory, one on armory repel. Kind of feels like they're fishing a little bit for kills rather than trying to take map control. If they get them, they could be successful. However, if MNM just basically play stuck in the mud, it's going to be very hard for NAVI to find any success here.
Absolutely. Depends how long they can hold on for. 2 drones here crawling around the top of Armory. Solotov finally removing one. Is a filthy Roni enjoyer and not a Church of MK14 worshipper, but here we are. Either way, he's got himself a kill onto Yak. 1 for 1 coming in between the two sides.
Rotate's there this time.
And it's Nate starting with the entry as well.
Yeah, the rotate was there. I mentioned that MNM didn't put it there, and they're famous for playing that particular rotate. They didn't put it there in the first round. Second round they do. Solotov finds a kill, but secretly waits. He's very patient, manages to find the kill. Back onto Solotov. Yak's dropping the XD in chat. He's dead, so I'm not sure why he's doing that. But now they've got themselves good position. They've got players kind of swarming the site. Still not a great deal of map control, but they've got man advantage. They've actually got a 4v2 on site. If they realise this, they can swarm site, overwhelm, and then try and, get a plant down with numbers advantage because they can commit to playing this trade game.
Really thought he was going to try and jump the Twitch drone inside again there as well. Take the momentary disabling of the drone, but of course it carries on through the air and comes out the other side, and you can then recontrol it again. Turn around and shoot things out. All too easy. But I think as it stands, just a little bit nervous about how close he gets. Oh, Yuzu's potentially a little bit close there. Will manage to get himself away and peel back around in towards Dining. As you start hearing those smoke canisters coming out, the pressure starting to build from NAVI.
Users is very slippy. He's managed to rotate all the way back out. Blair's got caught on that Reboot alarm, which means Users is probably going to come up the back and try and poke him. However, Blair's making a push into site. It's a 4v1 actually on site right now. Neo needs to absolutely stay alive while Users comes back up. Users does manage to find one onto Blair. Thunder gets one onto Nello. Nath is now looking for one back onto Users on white stairs. Users doesn't know, and that will be the round for NAVI. Ultimately, the man count advantage was just too much for them and managed to find the win.
Once they got control of sight there, it was all too easy to close things out. So for NAVI being at 2 rounds, it's far from the end of the world. And arguably here, they could go to the offside. Depends where MNM choose to play. It's going to be kids and dorms. So a repeat of that same site. Thinking they can get things right here rather than going for the offside of meeting in kitchen makes total sense, given you did get slapped about in meeting in kitchen. Truly is the least desirable site of the 3, so why not repeat the one that you've already had success on at least once this half?
I think MNM actually gave themselves a good win condition, but the problem was Solotov, for example, peaked to breach. He did peaked to door that he didn't need to peak. It was a little bit of over peaking. I said if they play stuck in the mud, they would have won, and I think that's what they need to do this round. They'll run the same strat most likely. Actually, they're going to close off the breach this time, so they're just toying with me.
Small changes.
Whether they keep that breach open or not by default. They're keeping NAVI guessing, I guess. But also, play a little bit more stuck in the mud, you win that round. And I'm guessing that's what Nello's telling them. because Nello's experienced enough to know what happened there. So it's just a quick conversation. They believe, and that's the reason why they're not changing to meeting, because they got outclassed there, but also they know what their win condition is, and they just need to execute that win condition.
Let's find out in a second. Destruction late, a bit crazy as of a couple of patches ago as well. No, some of the guns, shotguns especially, very good now at opening up massive walls. I think someone said that you can actually open a full rotate with a single shotgun blast now and just stroll on through. I think it's on specific maps, I want to say. I think it was Helby who said it was on a specific map.
Yeah,
Chalet.
Yeah. Yes, I did it with one.
They just use really crap wood on that map. As nice as it looks, it's just not high quality stuff. They've been down to the lumberyard, just taking whatever was left.
I'll be honest, I know it wasn't necessarily talked about, but the destruction change, particularly for the Alibi and Maestro shotguns, the Bailiff, it's so much nicer quality of life-wise. Is that you feel that you can quickly make a rotate. That used to be a massive pain to do with those shotguns. The same for the Clash and Castle shotgun. I can't remember the particular name.
You know me, Fresh.
I'm not Castle, I don't need to know the name. Super Shorty, that's the one. It's a really nice quality of life change.
You know me, Fresh. I'm all about quality of life changes that speed up more.
You want 1 second reinforcements.
Oh, I do. I would love 1 second reinforcements and shorten the prep phase by, I don't know, 5-10 seconds, speed things up. But Nate's looking to speed things up himself here. Easy first kill coming in onto Solotov. Nook having quite a presence today, ironically, despite her gadget, reducing that altogether. We have seen her an awful lot. Players haven't, clearly, as they've often died to her. But just having her on side has been a nice little spice up to a couple of teams. Now they see it out as well with this Mozzie drone. They got a little bit of help coming in from the ping, not quite popping the hell presence reduction on the charge in, which means they can still see exactly where he is, and Nate still wins it out. 2 big kills all in around Freezer. Drop the bag on the drone. Just drop that bag on the drone. Take a look at these. I'm not going to finish that sentence, but down he goes and gets the kill. Beautiful stuff.
Well, they know where Nerf is, so why not drop a little teabag there? As the nade comes out below from Thunder, 5v2. MNM's counter-adaptation of playing stuck in the mud hasn't really worked. Users is forced to therefore go for a swing. It's 5v1 and it's all up to Puppet Master Nello. Do what you do. You need to find 5 1v1 engagements as Thunder goes down. It certainly wasn't from Nello. Nave blows himself up. What's going on? It's a 1v3. He knows there's a guy on the shield because the Alibi is pinging him out. Can't peek him because the shield is just so close. And secretly, what was that end to the round? Secretly, in the end, gets the pistol kill. And Nave is dropping the ha in chat. That is the strangest end to a round I've seen in a while.
Yeah, and the strangest start, really, with the Nook just running down and killing 2 people, dropping the bag on the drone. Love to see it. So a 3-3 half overall, where it started out. It started so strong in those first 2 rounds for MNM, but NAVI have battled their way back in. Now they've got to try their own hand on the defensive side. And, for MNM, I know as much as we're all looking at them and saying, look, there's a world here where you make it into that top 4, it is genuinely one of those times where it could well come down to the round diff. So the longer this game goes on, the less chance you have of making it in there. And I'm pretty sure if NAVI get through to at least overtime, they basically lock Secret out.
Yeah.
Secret? MNM.
MNM, yeah. It's regulation wins for either of these teams for the statistical chant. And I want to say that it's important to the major. MNM might feel I'm disrespectful here. Them winning this game is important to relegation chances. It's because they're the team that's coming up. And as much as they're not going to want to admit it, they've got to think about relegation, because it's a very real thing, it's a very real expectation that the team that comes up from Challenger League will be the team fighting for relegation.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, not necessarily. I want to say not necessarily in Siege, because MNM, Vitality, Empire back in the day, and Kavana. But in most traditional sports, it's a very real expectation, and therefore it's something they've got to think about. There was a reason these players weren't in Tier 1 last year. I'm not saying it's because they're bad players. They're not at all. But it's got to be.
They have to do a lot of graph to get to this level.
Yeah, and it's got to be something that they start thinking about. And it might seem meaningless in the context of a major here, but when you're in stage 3, trust me, those previous stages where you should have got a win, that's what I got relegated off the back on. Is we said at the start of stage 1 in Chaos, when we drew, we said it's fine. The win would have been, could have kept us up.
That word draw gave you trauma for a long time, I'm sure. It was not a good time to be fresh in the age of draws in EUL when 6-6s haunted the Chaos roster and they could not get away from them. And that's a long time past. And and that's why you're with me on the cast.
Yep. Long time past, I'm with you on the cast. Lovely.
You like that, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked it.
Fantastic.
Yep.
We are down in the basement then, where we all love spending most of our time. Let's see what MNM can do on the attacking side. 60 seconds in, trying to do their work on the drones. They've been chewed through a lot, to be fair. Only 4 left on side at this point. They're starting their work up on the top floor. They'll be pleased to know that for the most part, Navi aren't really roaming around. Blur popping his head up here like a weasel out of a warren, just trying to see what he can find. No one around, so dip straight back down. Navi all dug into sight, and MNM need to clock this as soon as possible and get to work on their setup.
We've kind of got the same setups going against each other. The hatch is open, and we saw Blair try and take his head up and get a couple of drones. Wasn't too successful, but MNM is still forced to clear the whole entire map. They know that they've pretty much got the map control, certainly at least up to meeting. They've got it. They've not checked T1, T2, T3, so they might just not even go there whatsoever. As it is, nobody's playing that. There's just a full title coming out. Now, it's the same as when MNM defended this. It's about clearing those goddamn power positions. Clear Blair out freezer. Clear secretly Twitch.
There's no way he just kind of flick shot it as he jumped through.
I think secretly shot it.
It must be. There's no way he managed to spin that. Just no way.
But you've got to clear these people, and you've got 50 seconds to do it. Advantage so far is in Navi's hands.
Got the nades on side here. They can just toss straight over, which would be a great way of going about it. Solotov coming in again. C4 over the top. A little bit of a zap coming in. A love tap if nothing else, but not really too much of a worry onto Blur. There are 3 of them stacked here. No C4 on side to really detract them anymore. Nate's still got one, mind you, but not really in position to make use of it in this spot. He's looking more instead towards that big 2K they netted when they were on the attacking side. Secretly dug in, just daring for a bit of a challenge to come in here. First smoke coming out, and now surely the push starts to happen once these smokes dissipate. But the problem is, we're only down to a few seconds left on the clock, 15 to be precise, and this is where MNM have got to step things up. Secretly stepping out from the bomb, just to bring down Nello. Here they come. They're pushed down through freezer. They get swung in. It's an awkward crossfire and almost a TK on the way through. Solotov can't find the man. The shotgun finds him instead. Neo's going deep looking for a man. Sees one. Can't get the one right in front of his face. And it's a closeout for Navi.
And I think that's exactly what you get. And both of these teams on the defense have been able to sit behind those power positions and play them very well. Navi exceptional there. The only flaw was secretly popping his own mirror window. But apart from that, managed to play that position well. I don't think he actually died in that position, I want to say. Managed to get the entry kill. And you just couldn't clear those power positions whatsoever. A tactical timeout coming out from Navi here, despite winning 3 on the bounce.
It could be MNM. I mean, if it's Navi, okay. Like, whether they've got to come up with some ideas now for their other defenses that they're not quite as concrete on, I'm not sure. But either way, both teams do have this 60 seconds or so to have a conversation here, get things set right if you are MNM, given they are now 3 rounds in a row down. Navi really waking up here from round 5 onwards. MNM looking like a bit of a shadow of what we saw back in round 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's Oregon. It's primary sites on Oregon. The thing that will haunt MNM, should we go kind of late into this game, is the fact that they lost the primary site twice. They lost Kid Storms in round 5 and 6. Now, you expect a 4-2 split on Oregon. It shapes up usually that way, but Navi found a way to win those 2 rounds. They obviously backed that up with a laundry straight away. They're going to try and get Kid Storms. Now, if they win it, it kind of doesn't matter whether they go and win their tertiary sites, because all they will need to do is just win their primary sites out from here.
Let's see how cheeky they can get then in this round. By the looks of it, the Oryx coming along for Nate is a bit of a different one. We saw him on the mirror before, but no doubt looking to get out on the roam, out and about around the map. Also has, of course, the Bailiff for opening up site rotates too.
True.
I mean, you've already got 3, you've got 4 shotguns, basically 5. You've got a Rooney as well. All of them very capable of doing rotates. This is the total antithesis to our problem we stacked together in that no one has a shotgun.
Do you know what? It's been well documented that I'm now a Clash main, but I now play the Clash shotgun as well, just so that I never have this problem.
Find someone that can do it all, basically.
Yeah, basically.
That's why I play Mav, is he can do everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything for himself. Decent gun, nades.
That's why those operators are so strong.
Exactly. We won't see them having this round, though. Instead, what we are seeing is Neo bringing along that Capital. And we saw this coming along in a couple of times today, actually, both in the last game and I think earlier on today, too. Titan ran it, I believe, in secret, bringing along the hard breach gadget to smoke so they execute the fire to force defenders to move. Plus a pretty decent gun as well as being a 3-speed. Again, lots to offer to the team. And once more, that Nook is returning. Both teams employing it so far in this game.
And it's strange, Siege, because operators come in and out of fashion. I'm not going to say meta, but, you know, the Nook doesn't actually bring a lot other than a set of nades. But you could, of course, be bringing a sledge. You could, of course, be bringing Ayana.
Like the FMG, mate. That's what it's all
Yeah,
about.
I mean, it's exactly what it is. It's a comfort pick, but it allows you to just kind of sneak around.
Oh, Tyrant. Playing cat and mouse with Nath.
Well, the cat just ate the mouse.
It gets its dinner. Nath taken out for free inside the opening 60 seconds.
Yeah, that was a nice entry by Tyrant. It's something that as much as he's had a good stage, I've wanted to see him do more. So it's nice to see him get on that Jackal, get in there, get an entry, and make that kill count. He's now looking for more of a lurk roll. I don't know if is there a C4 out? No. I thought I heard a pre-play C4. Must have been the mute jammer. My ears are deceiving me. As Solotov actually finds
old age, my man.
Solotov finds one onto Blair outside. Blair getting a little bit aggressive, I think, inside of Garage there, looking for a cheeky peeky. I know you love that term recently.
Cheeky peeky, as Tim would say.
As Yak's playing in Trophy, Yak's really important to this because if he manages to hold on to Trophy, take at least one down with him, then he's got a good role to play. But he might, I was about to say he might back off, choosing to take a fight that's a little bit more advantageous. I'm not surprised that he's backed off because there's a few angles that he could have been peeked from. He's going to back himself off the site, and it's really about turtling here and then trying to front up. His users, he's got the ping, he's going to look for a nade below, and Yak is going to get deleted. Good night, Kayak.
Beautiful use of the drones there as well. I'm looking for another one. I want to go fishing again. Surely he doesn't find a second. I think he's a little bit too far to the side, but he might just damage on the rotate. Nope. Not quite in range. Solotov hits the deck, secretly coming out with the 1-2 pump, bringing down Solotov. That makes it a 2 versus 3. Looks a little bit dicey. In fact, it was a frostbite that I think he stepped into there inside a walk-in.
It was the,
Yeah, unfortunate, I suppose. Another nade coming in. I tell you what, you don't want to be playing inside of kids and dorms right now because there are just nades swinging in everywhere. Laterally, vertically, you name it. It's all coming singing in. Down to that last 25 seconds or so, though, MNM need to buck up here. They've already gone through all of their nades. They've still got the Capital on side with some utility. In comes one of the 5 bolts coming out. Thunder finding one back, a 2 versus 2. No way if they swung it. Secretly a massive 3K as Neo steps in for a plant. But my man, you're all by yourself. They can step forward and bring this down. Is he even aware? I don't think he is, but he's entirely alone, can do nothing about it. Navi close out their 4th round in a row.
I'm confused. I'm so confused, Des. And the reason that I'm confused is you've got a 5v3 that makes it into a 5v2, by the way, with that nade, that you then lose because you're trying to play almost 2 perfect siege to play for the plant. When you can just literally just trade each other out. You could run at them in a pair of 2 and then 3 players, trade each other out, and you will win that round based off trades and trades alone. Instead, what happens is we're jumping in 1 by a window, 1 on the staircase, 1 by 1 by 1 by 1, and that's the end result. Good players, and Navi have great players, can just front that up and just take those 1v1 engagements and win them, and that's how Navi pull around out of their backsides.
Well, you can see that dream slowly starting to fade away from MNM. It was always going to be a slim chance, as a reminder. If MNM win this game in regulation, go into next week and win in regulation, and Rogue and LFO lose on their next Playday, as both did today, MNM would take that top 4 major spot. But it's looking a little bit dicey because 1, they're against outsiders, and 2, this game looks to be slipping away from them. Not quite able to get the results on the attack. And even when they have a 5 versus 2 situation, like you said, Fresh, they're still letting it slip away.
It's something that you just can't... I talked about this team making a step up. That's something that Tier 1 teams generally will punish you for every time. Doesn't matter if you're on a 5v2. If you play like that, you will be punished. Because you have that round in your control and you just let it slip. And that's me being very critical on MNM. It's very critical, but these are the rounds that can be the difference when you're talking about things like relegation. I'm going to come back to it. You're talking about major and I'm talking about relegation. Important in the context of both.
Yeah, mate, look, we're 2 stages away. Well, 2.5, 2 and a bit away from relegation.
But you build your basis of, Kavana weren't going to be relegated in stage 3 because of the foundation that they set in stage 1 and 2.
Exactly.
I want to see MNM set that same foundation.
Reasonable. Time will tell. There are a couple of teams having real issues, looking towards like Secret. Pones at the minute aren't having the best time. There are several in there that are already struggling. It could make for a very interesting battle in stage 3, but of course we have transfer windows and all sorts to go until then, which will completely change the story and the dynamic ahead of stage 3. Here we go then. Solotov, he's already in. No ways he just crouch walk in here. Finds himself 1 as well. Not a clue from Thunder what was going on. Now we see what else steps forward because there's 1 upside in Big Tower. It's a good start to get control of that top floor. Completely evaded his way around the Wee-Woo.
That's a misplaced Wee-Woo alarm that has just cost Thunder his life. I believe they were actually Thunder's Wee-Woo alarms, so he deserves to, die for his
Since.
His sins, basically, yeah. Solotov has found his way into Attic. Might have just got a little glimpse of Yak. I don't think he saw him, but Yak was actually on show. There is a very tiny hole in the far side of Attic. He's just going to hold the rotate because now users can just establish a vertical control. He can just sledge above site. And I think we're seeing a carbon copy come out from MNM is that they want to play for the kitchen side. Users is in above. The wall has been thermited open. Nello's going to look for a plant behind or next to the island, with users having full control over site, which means no Navi player can contest this. There's going to have to be a retake of the top floor, and unlike MNM, I think Navi are actually going to move a lot quicker to try and retake it before this plant goes down.
Well, Blur looks to be going up Armory and secretly was thinking about coming up Freezer, but no way does that just bounce over his head. That's unbelievable. In the same stroke, Blur finds himself on the deck, should get recovered. No, Neo swinging down and picking him up for free. So for MNM, it is all slowly starting to work their way here, bearing down on just 3 members. Nates with all 3 smokes in pocket, but we've been in a 5 versus 2 before. 30 seconds to play. Nello getting this plant down. I don't think Navi have the denial they're looking for here. A smoke goes deep, but it's not quite the right place as Nello is on the door. It's stuck, and Navi are fighting on all stations here to try and bring it back, but it's not to be. Solotov starts, Solotov closes, MNM get the round.
The similarities between these two teams in terms of ideologies is almost the same. It's absolutely incredible. Is that they're going for the same attacks and the same defenses each. Love that attack from MNM. Take the top floor, Solotov doing a great entry job. You know, realize that the defenders on Navi will flank, controlling that, and then going for the plant. It's almost it's a carbon copy of what Navi did on that same site all the way back in round 3. Both teams attacked it perfectly. Neither team had the answers on defense.
It's one of those that I'm looking at and just thinking between the rounds, it's really hard to call which way these start going. But what I will give a lean to it is that was the offsite. It was the meeting and kitchen site. MNM had similar struggles on their defensive side of things. So it's only somewhat natural that Navi have had the same struggles, and now they get to go 2 rounds back onto their primary sites, down in the basement, then up to kids and dorms. They get those 2 rounds on board. They're at 7-4, boys. They've done it. They've won. They've got themselves to 3 points, and MNM are then out of the runnings for that major spot. Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. You look so keen.
I've miscalculated something.
What have you miscalculated, mate?
Round 8.
I've got some stats.
Yeah, I wrote something down wrong. Doesn't matter.
Don't worry, mate.
Ignore me.
Your trusty boy Des and his spreadsheets have got you covered.
Do you know what? I am not a caster. I'm going to say this. So it's like when Milos says, I'm just a host. I don't have to do predictions. I'm used to not having the pressure of having to talk while taking my notes. Therefore, I've took a note down slightly incorrectly.
Oh, mate, it's a constant war.
I had this as 5-4 MNM, and you was just talking about them going 7-4, and I was like, but it's actually 5-4 Navi. I took around the wrong way. Kids, Doms, they did lose the offsite, and as we said, and sorry about the last 30 seconds, Switch chat, because I was just babbling on, you win your primary sites, you've won the game.
All I'm hearing is casters and their notes better than analysts and their notes.
True. Well, it's harder to take notes whilst casting because we've got to talk about the game whilst taking the notes.
All your notes are in your big brain,
It's
mate.
not like I'm on the desk and taking notes whilst I'm talking on the desk. It's just a different dynamic, Des.
Well, mate, there's something to be very excited about here. We've spoken about Clash already today, and I know you've enjoyed seeing that. Now look what's on the other side.
We love the Clash.
Do we love this, though?
Yes.
The big fan of the Monty?
I'm a big fan of Monty.
What do you call Monty? Because like you got like Mozmoz for Mozzie. You got Wee Woos for the prox alarms. You must have something special for Monty.
Monty.
That's well boring.
Yeah, I need to think of a name for him.
What other crazy names have you got for ops and items?
Oh, now you're testing me.
I know you got Mozmoz.
Fluke was calling me out on them. I've got quite a few, and I can't think of any of them.
I like the Moz because you're always like, oh, I love the Mozmoz.
Yeah, Mozmoz is...
Played a bit of Mozmoz.
It's a shame that Nixon, and this is a side note, Nixon, who played in Yukon, used to be called Omoz. And I used to love calling him Osmoz on the Mozmoz.
Osmoz on the Mozmoz.
But that's not going to happen anymore, because he's not inside of Yukon or NPL anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, we've actually got a round going on, and I'll start thinking of operator names. But we've got a Monty coming out from Nello, and I like this. It just forces such a fast clear. As it is, the clear is about 20 seconds faster than what it was before. The whole of the top floor and mid floor are now being cleared, and Nello can start causing havoc by going down these T1 stairs. What Montaigne does is he actually forces defenders to look at him. He forces attention away from players with guns, forces attention onto the Monty. Players get scared, players get worried, and it creates a big racket that allows people to slip into other places and get kills for free. So don't be surprised if Nello just stands there taking all that attention, somebody walks into blue, somebody walks into freezer, and gets kills because of it.
Attention is a resource. If you can just draw a bit of time, a bit of focus away from their brains elsewhere, that's when you can capitalize. Nave coming in, eaten up straight away by one of those magnets, so Thunder will be safe at least for now. Going aggressive up the stairs here. Does he know Monty's up there? I'm sure he does, because you can hear that boy from a mile away. Tyrant! A shot through the soft wall will find Thunder straight to the head as well. Beautiful stuff, and in towards Highway here. Don't think it'll find the man, but the Monty's inside a pillar. Now they can start their push forwards here. The intel's coming through. It's like a walking battle cruiser. He pings them out. Tyrant knocks them down. A 3K before Nate finally silences the assailant, but that's all that's left. It's 2 for the side of Na'Vi. MNM looking in a commanding position once again. There's one inside of Freezer. They can hide in behind this one as well. Just literally tanking things up. The C4 goes too far. Nello is down to a slither of HP. Nate getting one back and has got to find another. Can't quite find it. MNM a 3 versus 1, and this round is theirs.
What was absolutely excellent on the Monty there was the plant position. And I want to talk about plant position because it might not be too well known in your ranked games. The 3 plant spots on that laundry site. There's one where you go deep, which was where the bulletproof was. You've got to cross blue, so you've got to cross 90 and Freezer to get there. Very hard to plant there, but is the safest. The next 2 plant spots are either on the door or deep. And as you saw, the plant spot taken was deep behind the Monty covering, which meant the C4 didn't connect, didn't kill the planter because the plant was deep. Really nice use of the Monty to plant behind the Monty to get the plant position where you could not be killed from utility. Very small thing, but it's a very small thing that won MNM that round.
It was very close, mind you. The Monty did get taken down to about 5 HP from that C4. You know, a couple of pixels closer, and that is a dead Monty, an exposed planter, and likely a kill coming in from Freezer. But not to be the case. Sometimes it can be a game of fine margin. So, with this timeout coming in from Na'Vi, it does confirm the timeout we saw earlier on was, in fact, out of MNM. This one most definitely going to be Na'Vi's now. They've lost 2 rounds in a row. Hasn't been looking pretty given they had 4 back-to-back during that time. So we could even be going through to an overtime here, potentially fresh.
Yeah, it feels that way. I think Oregon is a very overtime map, and I say that because of the power of the tertiary primary sites, the fact there's 2 good primary sites.
Speaking of.
A tertiary site that is somewhat difficult to play most of the time. However, Na'Vi won 2 primary sites. MNM have gone and won a primary site on Laundry and found a way to win it. And I think Na'Vi don't necessarily have the answer to MNM on Laundry if they're going to run the Monty. Therefore, they've chosen to go away to Meeting Kitchen because Kid Storms is still locked up for this particular... Is it?
No, it should be open.
No, it's open.
Yeah, because round 9 was Meeting Kitchen, 10 was Supply Laundry.
Brave call to go to Meeting here.
Yes.
Especially given how they were dismantled on this.
I'm surprised because it is such a... You know, it's the offsite that both teams have really struggled with throughout the game, but clearly they know something we don't. They've had that conversation during the timeout and feel they have a plan good and ready to go. Let's see when MNM put their focus, whether it's going to be through Small Tower and looking for a plant in through that wall, or if it's going to be assault on towards that meeting stage. Looks to be Small Tower.
Yeah, and
this is a classic though, right? For MNM, having Eustace and Tyrant normally start on the west and just sweep their way across, that's just like bread and butter. It's always a thing.
Most teams, when you see this site in Pro Play, Meeting Kitchen, most teams go and take T2, T3, T3, T2, T1, and look, as Medics is showing us,
T2.
T3, T2, and then one below is T1. And they look to go and take control of that and then plant on the stage. Neither of these 2 teams have gone for that in any times that we've seen Kitchen Meeting today. They've gone for the West Clear to play for Kitchen instead. And we actually did a highlight video of the Ossa play, and MNM were in that in the pre-show. It was Nello and Neo playing Ossa to try and plant on the stage, so this is a change of approach, particularly for MNM on the attack.
It's one of those that I look at and just think with the Aussie, yeah, it makes sense. Otherwise, maybe it just feels a little bit difficult. But neither of these 2 teams leaning in towards playing that. Maybe thinking with the Ying on side, it'd be possible, but without it, it's a little bit more difficult. Thunder swinging round and just demolishing Solosov where he stands. Neo looking in for the trade here, walking his way straight inside. But do they know? The Yokai coming out to give a little bit of information back as Tyrant finds the trade elsewhere.
And that's a 4v4 with 1:30 to go. It's difficult to say who the advantage is to here because MNM have gained map control, but Thunder is staying stubborn up on this top floor. He will presumably be the next player that MNM tried to kill. He's the only one there. He's been left to die alone. Every second he wastes is great. Tyrant finding a kill on Secretly is absolutely massive, though, because that left Thunder in an awkward position, as Tyrant is just actually in sight. I've just seen that he's in sight, and that means that MNM might be taking a fast approach to sight, ignoring Thunder completely, who has a flank, gets a one-tap kill on Sinello, and will disappear all the way into Showers, drawing attention from the attackers now, as Tyrant instead looks to move through sight.
You've got about that 60 seconds left here as well. It feels like Na'Vi have done enough. Still playing behind the Yokais as well, feeding information back and forth. And they see the man. Beautiful use of the information. Wonderful round so far from Na'Vi, reducing MNM just down to Uses and down to Neo. They've got a lot of work between them both here to get this back on track. Otherwise, Na'Vi move up to match point and close that door for MNM on a potential spot at the major. 35 seconds to go.
Whew. We can take a second. Thunder's managed to just hold himself in an off position, but Uses is better. He's ready for it. This round's still winnable for MNM, but they've got to recover the diffuser. They know they're probably up against an Echo, and it's a Knave who's sat with 2 Echo drones in hand, which means you've probably got to push deep, lads, to be fair. The Breach might not even get off. I'm not sure what utility Neo's got. He's got 8, but a fast rotate's coming in, and the Melusi gadget will give the game away. Yak's ready for it. Swings 1. Knows both of there. Knave's playing very close. Does get taken down in the end. It's all on Yak in a 1v2. Plant's going down. User's got to cover. He's got to look at the rotate, though, as Yak makes his way through. Peeks 1. Gets 1. 1v1 now. Neo against the Yak. Neo gets out, and Yak's chasing him with the Bailiff. He knows he's gone into Classroom, gets some shots off, and it's a ring around the rosy. And finally, Neo will win the round. I have no idea strategically how MNM won that one. They've clutched that round from the jaws of defeat.
That is...
and I'm not surprised to see Neo in the Twitch chat there.
Yeah, I've never seen someone chasing someone down a 1 versus 1 with the Bailiff. I will not lie.
No.
Just really didn't want to let him get away there. Wanted to make sure that fight stayed alive, and you saw the outcome. The final kill coming in for Neo in the 1 versus 1. So MNM, that dream is still on. It's 6-5. One more round, they take the map, but it does mean we have a full selection of sites coming in for Na'Vi. They've lost all 3 that they've been playing so far in the last 3 rounds. They lost Meeting and Kitchen, they lost Supply and Laundry, and then they lost Meeting and Kitchen again. In fact, Kidstorm's the only one they haven't lost on, but they're not going back there fresh.
It's... a worry. I don't know why you wouldn't. I suppose Kidstorms, they did have to win a 2v5.
I mean, secretly he did get a 3K.
That's the only thing that I'm going to give them is you've got to win a 2v5.
Not like your other sites are really going much better though, let's not lie.
No, Anello with that immediate 7th pick, the attacker repick.
You say 7th pick?
7th pick, because you've got to press 7 on your keyboard to do it.
Fantastic.
So it's not the 6th pick anymore, it's the 7th pick. Nello. Their names are so similar, it gets me every single time.
I hate it.
Nello uses the attacker repick to go onto the Monty. It worked wonders for them last time, so I'm not surprised to see him on it again. You can clear out the map faster, you can draw attention, and as we saw in the previous time he played it, you can actually cover your teammate when he's planting.
Well, they've got smokes for days. They've got the Monty on side. They've got the Jackal for dealing with any ratty Na'Vi players. Just all in all, a very good setup. But I think Uses knows that Blur is sat just inside a kitchen here. We did just see the drone come on, and in comes Tyrant. They must know he's in so much danger here. If he blindly walks inside a kitchen, though, it could be a bit of a worrisome one. C4 pre-placed as well. The boys out to the west again. Uses and Tyrant like peas in a pod, working their way through.
The mute jammer has potentially just saved Blur there. In terms of the kitchen, because
I think they know he's here.
They know he's there. I mean, the reinforcement probably gives it away, to be fair, anyway. And he will do the right thing. He will dip. They're going to get themselves into meeting. But look how fast that this control is established. Between the Jackal and the Monty, Navi have basically given up the middle floor, apart from Blur. Of course, he did make that one mad play by the sandbags in the major invitational. Can't remember which one it was. Won't make it here, though.
No.
He's managed to be seen dropping down the hatch, but crucially, he did drop down that hatch with only chip damage. It makes it a 5v5 on site, even if MNM are faster.
Far from the end of the world, Nello making use of that hard breach gadget to get these hatches opened up. One inside a meeting already open as, well, Navi be using that one to dip their way back down towards site. So one opened up, freeze is done. All hatches open at 90 seconds. That's pretty normal, even when you're not seeing roamers out in the map. So overall for MNM, still on pace here, still got the Monty on side, and still thinking about a real good execute here on the push through.
Monty's actually gone the laundry side here to take some attention this way. Last time he went on T1 stairs, but look, he's crucially alone, which means he's drawing attention as the rest of the team are going for a backstab. As I say that, he's listened and he's decided to go for the backstab as well. And I like it. I like the Monty play, draws a lot of attention. Aruni gates are burnt, you've got a minute to go. The first protocol is Thunder, the second protocol is Yak. Once you clear those 2 positions, you can then start looking for a plant, but you've got to clear them.
Well, that gives us now 3 pushing down this north side. Does Nello know about the man off towards his right? Yes, he does. Sees him for a second. Thunder Obviously aware that Monty these days you can punch him and he does get that little stagger where you can take a couple of shots off the back of it, but with the cross coming in from Usus and Solotov, no one can really assist him here. So basically a dead man standing if a swing comes in from the blue side. Nathan with a little bit of cover and Tyrant finds the one. That's the one you're looking for to get things moving. Nate tucking in around the corner, Yak almost falling by the wayside. It's a dream start and Nello just hip fires onto Thunder and somehow finds the head. A 5 versus 3. MNM might have dragged this one back from the brink as they now step their way through, looking for a plant. Nello still marching forward. Again, the battle cruiser is in, calling the shots. Blur down to 5 HP, trapped inside a cubby, and they're going in for the plant. Nath shut down, 2 for Solotov. MNM, again, bring it back from the jaws of defeat and secure all 3 points.
Once again, playing around that Monty, and it draws so much attention. Tyrant manages to get that kill for free, unbeknown that he's coming down free to stairs because they think the push is coming in completely behind the Monty. Nello managed to get an amazing kill, by the way, on the hipfire headshot. Not sure that's gone on. MNM with a fantastic comeback there. What was that, 4 rounds in a row? Planting in 3 of them, I want to say. Would have planted in that 4th in that safe plant spot. Absolutely amazing. Des?
Yes, mate.
The dream's still on.
This guy didn't believe at the start of the day.
I don't believe. I still don't believe.
I mean, it's a very...
Hands up, I don't believe. But I am going to say it's important in the context of the overall standings, Des.
It is, and again, there's still lots to play for going into that last Playday, because now, MNM, here comes a new challenger. They've joined the race for the top 4 and could be at the major.
That's
now,
true.
Many will look at it and go, look, let's not send them, because early games screw that team over. If you didn't watch SI, 10 AM games were not their friend. Later games, a bit less so. Did beat NIP. Good stuff. There's work to be doing for them, no doubt, as well. This stage has been rough. Their introduction to EUL has been rough, but they are climbing their way back up.
3 wins on the bounce. They've had that penny drop moment. They've had that light bulb moment, and they are genuinely looking like a scary team. They're finding some real character, even in this particular game, to find a way to win.
I think they're not as strong as we've seen them previously, thinking back to when, you know, Yuzu, Solotov and Tyrant were just killing everything in sight. Very reminiscent of TSM, I thought. Not quite to that absolute world-beating level, but still very strong with that core. And they're still really discovering that again, I think. And for NAVI, I think equally for them, you know, that's a chance there that you're looking at and saying, boys, we've really given that one away. We had 4 rounds of our own in the mid-game that we just couldn't close.
I think Navi are going to look back on a lot of games this stage and think we should have done better.
I think a lot of teams will be thinking that about their own games, to be fair.
Yeah, they're playing the hand. They're playing the hand that they're dealt. I don't think it'll be the hand that we see throughout the year. You mentioned transfer windows and such. I think they've done well given the circumstances, but, you know, as I say, teams are just finding a way to get over the line. Instead of Navi, they've had a lot of close games. 7-5 here again, or 5-7 for Navi. It's another close game, but it's no points once again.
Absolutely. Well, out of fear of this turning into a podcast, we'll throw to a quick break. And when we come back, it's going to be the analyst desk and the post show. See you guys in a few.